Hey, y'all, what's up? It is Alchemy. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to continue the conversation when it comes to the opposing energies of the astrology houses in this video. And we'll talk about the money houses when it comes to the second and the eighth house. So, again, thank you guys for joining me. Shout out to the new subscribers that I have. That is so awesome. And shout out to everybody who is watching the videos. I mean, I'm a little baby content creator, but I'm very passionate about the things that I talk about, and it's cool to relate with people who are interested in the same things. I just think it's dope how all this shit is working. But nonetheless, let us go ahead and get into what we came to get into, which is the alchemy of the opposing houses, okay? And these are the money houses, right? Where the money resides. Okay, when it comes to these houses, when it just comes to money, right? Money is a big theme of life. Whether you're trying to make some money, okay, get to somebody else's money, okay. Shout out to the people in sales. I did that before, baby. Not for that life, okay. But whatever it is, right? Money is a matter that humans have to deal with. Nobody's absolved of that, right? So it's good to understand how these energies are working. So we're going to go in depth into the houses and talk about the alchemy here, okay? Whether it's cash rules, everything around me moments. Okay, big bank take little bank moments, all right? If you're trying to show me the money, or a bitch better have my money, all right? When it comes to money, we don't play, okay? It's serious business with these houses, okay? So we'll go ahead and get into it. It's no joke, okay? Especially when we get into the alchemy here. There's some very interesting things that are happening with the alchemy. But first, let's talk about the internal principle of money, which will visit the second house, okay? So boom, we got the second house, the house of values, possessions, security, things that we want to acquire and possess, right? These are valuable to us. Sometimes we spend our valuables on the things that we want to acquire and possess, right? Sometimes we so possessive, it's hard to give it up, right? But these are where the energies of Taurus, the bull, come in, okay? Now, if you know anything about the characteristics of the bull is very patient, right? It's hard to move a bull, okay? If you got a Taurus in your family, you already know. I do. I ain't gonna talk about it though. I ain't gonna talk about it though. I ain't gonna talk about it though. But the point is, right, when you make up your mind on what's valuable to you, it is very hard to move. Think of like fixed earth, right? Like a log. It ain't, it is what it is, right? If you get a slab of granite, before you put that granite in your house for your countertop, right? It's just a big old slab of granite. You have to actually work it out in like Virgo principle and all these other things later on, right? But just this is kind of like working with what you got basically. And this is going to be a very strong principle of the second house, right? Because here it's about what we find practical, structured, and trustworthy, okay? When it comes to our internal value and principle of money. And we also have the beautiful planet Venus, okay? Where Venus go? Oh, here she go. Hello, cute self. Venus over here, right? Now, these are the things that we love. Venus is about love and desire, okay? And who don't love money? Who ain't desiring a couple of coin? Okay. These are the things that we love and we romance over passion and absolute attraction, right? Venus, when you think about the planet, two things come to mind. Venus is known as the Lucifer star, right? Now, I like to break this down as a cognate because that's what the word is. It's a cognate. It's basically a cognate of the word Luke, see, far, which is basically what a desire is, right? It's something that you look at that you desire. I'm not big on cars like that, but if I see a nice looking car in traffic, I'm going to be looking. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to break my neck. Maybe. Depends on who drives. Now I'm just but the point is, right, if you see something that's attractive to you, you tend to look. It kind of captures you in the gaze, right? Look, see, far. It's something that's desirable to you. And because we all got eyes for the most part, right, we definitely all have desires, right? There are things that when it comes to what we're attracted to, it just naturally just pulls at us, right? And this is what the Venus principle represents. Also, Venus is a cognate as well, just the word itself, before the Lucifer part, right? Venus breaks down etymology to a word Veneres. So it's basically Veneres. And the ERES part to me kind of stands out because if you drop the R and replace it with a Y, you have eyes, right? So this is why beauty really is in the eye of the beholder, right? What's valuable to me could be very different from somebody else. We all have very different value systems, right? That's agreeable. But how we measure and how we act towards the things that are valuable, oh baby, I don't let nobody play with my crystals. You can't be fooling around and touching my tarot cards. That's not no, because they're valuable to me, right? Just like somebody who has a really nice car may be like, don't touch it. No, keep your hands off of it, right? My homeboy used to be like, I'm not having kids because I don't want their sticky little fingers getting on my shit. Like, and it used to crack me up now because now he likes kids. This is, many years later, but it always made me laugh when I thought about it, right? Because he was a person who was very much, fixated, again, that fixed energy on the things that are valuable, right? It's hard for us to move on the things that we find valuable. Now, let us go ahead and move it over a little bit to the conversation of the eighth house, right? Because what's on the opposite side of the things that we value are the things that we hope to inherit when it comes to those things that are valuable that we're holding on to, right, that we're possessing, or that we may spend our valuables on. So this is where we come into the energy of the eighth house, the house of destiny. Okay, now this is big boy right here, because this is the house of fate, destiny. And I always like this thing. I always think it's kind of interesting. If you look at the eight sideways, you kind of get an infinity symbol, right, which is like a pair of eyes. So it's kind of like they complement a little bit back to the eyes that you... Anyway, point being, right, this is basically the house of destiny, fortune, and hopefully, like, if I buy something, right, I'm hoping to inherit, right, which is this is the other house of money, the inheritance, right, other people's money. If I spend my money on something, I'm hoping to inherit what it is worth, right? Hopefully it arrives at the destination that I plan on getting. There's nothing worse than going to indulge in some good old food. It smelled real good. I done waited in line for it. And then I get home and I eat it and it's cold or soggy, or, it just doesn't live up to the destination of satisfaction that I was aiming to get to, right? Now we also have the sign Scorpion. Boom, it's stinging, right? It's sting a little bit when you don't get your money's worth, okay? And that's for a reason. It's just felt more intensely because internally when it comes to my money, I kind of understood what it was with my money, right? But when it came to getting that return on my investment, right, it's a bit more intense because I was really focused, right? I was really ambitious and, I thought I was aware as well of what I was getting myself into, okay? But again, it's the external world. And when we're talking externally, that's the world that we don't get to control. Internally, that's you. That's all you, boo. But externally, it's bigger than this. It's federal. I don't It's bigger than this, though, right? It's bigger than... Sometimes you can get to the federales, too, with the eighth house, okay? Because this is the house of taxes, okay? And they coming for their money, all right? But this is basically... This is also too very persuasive energy as well, because when you think of other people's money, right? Again, I did sales for a while. I don't even want to re-traumatize myself, okay, when I think about some of the pressures companies can put on you to make quotas, right? But that's your job. Your job is to be very aware, be very persuasive, which is the energy of like Scorpio in the eighth house, right? Because it has Mars here, and Mars is the planet of motivation. So when you can get to understand the motivations of how people spend their money, why people spend their money, where people spend their money, will they buy this product again, right? These are things that marketers use. I mean, you go to college for this and they'll pay you buku money when you come out if you know how to help other people, how to make their business grow based off the consumers that they can get, right? And their understanding of how they use their money and their purchasing power, right? So it's a real big deal. I mean, it's bigger than just like, I done made some money, right? This is one of those things too where people will make money, like the nature to make money and fixate on money and to hold money is there. As fixated as these principles are, don't they change, right? What you had in your checking account at the beginning of the month be different than what you have in it at the end of the month, right? And it's I just think it's kind of like an oxymoron. I even think it's an oxymoron too, the fact that the eighth house is the house of like transformation, right? When you think about it, it's a fixed principle, right? So you got to fixate on transforming, which is kind of crazy because transformation seems like change, right? But in order to drive that change, it really requires you to lock in on your mind to get it, right? So if you're a sales, if you've ever been in sales, right, when you got to fixate your mind on trying to get that consumer to change their mind and buy, that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't want to buy shit. What is it? It's Taurus. It's my money and I want it now. I'm going to keep my money, okay? But I'm trying to take your money and make it our money. So I got to drive. I got to dig deep. I got to find the willpower. I got to understand what's going to make you at the end of the day spend some money with me, right? That is the concept that we're talking about with these two power players when it comes to the money houses, right? Now, let's go a little bit further too, and let's get into the alchemy of these houses, right? Yep, there's some alchemy here. So, of course, if I take 2 and 8, right, and I add these together, right, so if my money, okay, oh, my money, if it works out with other people's money, right, or if the money that I, invested in something, it pays off, right, and I was able to get into Bitcoin when it was in 2020, when it was like between 8 and 12K. I had a really nice investment. Okay, boom. Changed my status. Yes, ma'am, it did. I was out here buying cars, clothes, and this was in the middle. A lot of people were getting money too during that pandemic. It was a lot of ways to get some money for real, right? But I didn't do the PPP route. Some told me, I was like, no, don't try it. Don't try it. I got Saturn in Scorpio, but it's only like 1 degree, so it's kind of got the influence of Libra there. And for me, anytime I do things that are just not like morally right, it always kicks me in my ass. So my morality, some like the judgment, the fairness and shit. Yeah, I was like, nah, that ain't fair. That money ain't for me, right? But I did get into money in a different way, and I came out okay. I got some money, I spent some money, I lost some money. Okay, it was a roller coaster ride, right? But the point is that whenever you take your money, right, money matters. It always ends up leading to your status, your public life. We spend money with brands that help us with our status, that help us look the part, right? Not it just because you got them little goofy ass red shoes, them Sonic shoes and shit like that. I saw somebody in the hood wearing them things, and I was just like, but that's just me. I ain't like it. But, a lot of people did like it, right? I mean, maybe it's the outfit or something. I don't know. It just looked goofy as hell. I'm like, this nigga look like a cartoon character. And these high ass shoes, who's paying for this, right? At the end of the day, though, it was a status symbol, right? Still, even though I didn't like it, right, I knew he paid money for them kicks, right? So this is the 10th house energy. So whenever we can alchemize our money, right, if I can take an investment, my money, and then see the return on it in the outside world, right, it's a status change. It's a status symbol, okay? And then we got Capricorn right here, too. Capricorn is a cool ass energy. They don't call it the goat for no freaking reason. Okay, it's very ambitious and practical, but it's a very motivated sign, okay? And the whole point here is to find reliability, right? This is where Earth knows how to take the lead at something, okay? Leaders are people that we rely on, right? So if I can take my money in a way and use it for myself where it works for me versus I'm always trying to chase the bag kind of a thing, right? I get to be comfortable. I get to have the status in the outside world. People see me and know me for being, well with money, okay? Now, this is also where we have the planet Saturn here, okay? All right. Saturn again is very committed, steadfast, and disciplined. Okay. We tend to be very because again we're thinking about money in the way of how it's going to affect our outside world and our status, right? So we tend to continue to make progress towards those things. Okay. Now, I like to say this too. Anytime Venus and Mars is in the sky, they cuts up. Venus and Mars cut up, okay? My money, okay, I done took my money, bought this thing, and, thinking it's going to give me what I wanted from the outside world, okay? And the thing that I loved, right, the thing that I was really, attracted and passionate about, come to find out, I got to fight. I got to fight now because you didn't give me what I was worth. And I'm over here stinging and like I didn't got stung by a goddamn Scorpio, okay? These things happen, all right? But when we can make it work in a balanced way, right? When Venus, the things that we love for, can work with the things that we're motivated to fight towards, right? We get to bring that shit into reality. And that's what Venus and Mars is trying to do. I saw a guy one time in somebody's chat, like, why? Because Venus does start off as an Earth principle. Why would be represented? Why would the Earth? Basically, he was trying to say, or if Venus has to do with what's here, what's earthly, right, our desires, then why wouldn't it rule the planet Earth, kind of a thing? But what it is though, I think it's because like it's about our desires, and our desires are things that are desirable, right? But they're not necessarily things that live in reality, right? You may desire to be the man, right? And you can be the man all up in your fantasy, right? But until you have the status, okay, of the 10th house, until you are the man, it's just a desire. And here's the thing too, you may fight all the time to be the biggest Billy badass that there is, right? But until you're known for being the GOAT, until you're known for that status and your social status in the world and how people really see you as that, it's just a fight. And sometimes you can be fighting the air trying to get people to really, see you as the way that you see yourself, right? So the passion and desire thing are always in our minds trying to become reality. And this is why there's an alchemy here that helps us understand this is the trajectory of our desires and the fire that we have, okay? Now, in closing, right, we talked about the alchemy here. Now, what happens when shit don't alchemize? What happens when that 8, okay, that we thought we was finna get our investment on, right? That I took my little 2 coins, I put my little 2 coins in here, and I ain't get my 8, right? What happens? 8 minus 2 gives us to 6, right? We worry. Again, anytime we're thinking of opposing energies that are so opposite that they just aren't gelling, it tends to send us to the 6th house, right? Where we're having to rework things, retrograde basically, right? And when that retrograding energy, we can now see if this was really a healthy investment for our money, right? Did it really work to service me in the way that I planned on it, right? Was it useful, okay? Or did I just get used? You know what I mean? And ain't nothing worse. It ain't nothing more publicly fucking embarrassing than getting somewhere, thinking that your car gonna work, thinking that whoever you had put your money with was gonna be there for you, right? In a social status plan, ain't nothing fucking more embarrassing than going back to your 6th house like, oh, I gotta rethink this, I gotta retrograde this, cause where I'm gonna get this money from? Been there, did that, okay? And it happens, right? But these are things that happen. So whenever money, because, okay, again, money is a big thing, right? When my money isn't right, I tend to worry, right? Or at least I try to revisit and try to come up with a plan so that I can make sure that I got, maybe I have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Okay, it happens. But I try to make sure that I can do things in a way to help me, survive, right? So again, if the money doesn't money, those kind of things happen where you have to go back and revisit the plan. I'll tell you another very interesting conversation before I leave on this. The Keith Lee effect that happened in Atlanta was one of those big, to me, I wish I was making content at that time, because that was like a really big deal for the money houses, right? Where you can go into a restaurant with your money, right? Hopefully you get, again, that investment on the food that you bought, right? And then in effect, you can put a good review out there for the business, like, oh, their status is going to go up because they making really good food, right? But what I thought was really interesting about the Keith Lee effect was that status. Some of those restaurants were like, I know these people have been waiting in line, I know they got money, but Keith Lee got status, so you can come on. And Keith was like, wait, I'm just a regular person. I'm buying my food like everybody else. I want to be treated the same, right? Bullshit. Not in this economy-driven based culture that we are in, okay? In reality, a lot of times status can even trump money, you know? In reality, right? The money, right, that you thought you had, when it come down to the reality of it, right, and the status, your actual money could have lost some purchasing power, right? Think of inflation, real world shit, okay? Real world shit. So the money that you had in the real world may not even buy you what you thought it was going to buy you. And that, I mean, look at 2020, right? Wasn't nobody paying no $4 for eggs. Goddamn $8 for orange juice, In reality, things happen, things change. And I'm telling you that even though this money principle is very fixed, my money, your money, everybody's money, right? It's a very fixed kind of staple position in our world. It still tends to feel very much uncertain at times. You know what I mean? Outside of the fact that we know we need it, how we use it, how we come about acquiring it, what we spend it on, if it's worth it or not, right? These are things that are still always subject to either take us to a 10th house where we have the status and we have the reality based off the desires and the motivations that we use to get us to that point, or they just send us in a tailspin worrying and shit. Retrograding, rethinking, reconsidering, worried, scrutinizing stuff, okay? In a very 6th house way, right? But the alchemy nonetheless is still here and it works the same, But hopefully everybody money matters are improving, honey. This is going to be a wild year for sure. I'm betting on Bitcoin. Okay, I'm betting on Bitcoin. I'm betting on some of these other cryptos and things like that. But that's just my personal thing, right? Some people are getting into gold. Some people are just. What I love to see more than anything is people who are investing in themselves. Baby, God said first off, you as a one, your individual. I made you, one unique person. But secondly, I made you valuable. Secondly, I made you in my image, right? Secondly, I made you beautiful, okay, with great ideas, all right? So, never ever lose your sight of your value. No, sorry, never ever lose your sight of your value, right? Or let somebody, sell you cheap because they hope to inherit you at a discount. Because that shit happens too. And then you be out in the world looking crazy because you done sold yourself short because God told you that you was valuable. And if you need to hear it from somebody else, I believe you're valuable. Okay? Those talents, those gifts, your beauty, your unique way of seeing things, okay? You add value to this world, and don't let now motherfucker try to tell you anything different, okay? And with that being said, okay, now I think I can go ahead and exit. I think I done said all I can say when it comes to these money matters. And I hope that you enjoyed the content. I hope what I said made a little sense. Maybe it has maybe you have a couple takeaways. And if it didn't, let me know in the comment section. We can have that discussion as well. But until then, you guys take care. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I know I did. Okay. And I can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Bye.